Crypto risk management and long-term investing. Linea crypto profit-taking strategy. When I take profit, buying is only half of the strategy. The other half is knowing what to do when your investment finally starts making money. When Linea starts generating profit, I don't try to predict the exact top. I don't know where the top is. Instead, I use predefined price ranges and profit-taking levels to gradually realize some profit while keeping part of my Linea position invested. In this video, I'll show you exactly how my Linea profit-taking strategy works, why I use four profit-taking levels, 10%, 20%, 30%, and 40%, and what those percentages actually mean. Because there is an important difference between taking 10% of your profit and selling 10% of your entire position. I'll also explain what happens to the profit after I realize it and why I believe having a plan before the price moves is more important than trying to predict what happens next. Before we start, just a quick disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. I am simply showing you how I personally manage my Linea investment and when I decide to take some profit. Crypto is risky, prices can move very quickly, and you can lose money. So please don't copy my strategy just because it works for me. Do your own research, consider your own situation and risk tolerance, and make your own investment decisions. When do I take profit from Linea? Most crypto investors have a plan for buying. They decide, where do I buy? How much do I invest? Where do I buy more? But I think there's another question that's just as important. What do you do when your investment finally starts making money? For me, taking profit is not about finding the perfect top. I don't know where the top is. Instead, I use predefined price ranges and profit-taking levels. And in this video, I'll show you how I personally do it with Linea. I don't sell everything at once. When Linea starts generating profit, I don't simply look at the price and say, okay, I'm selling everything. That's not how I approach it. I prefer to take profit gradually. At the moment, I use four profit-taking levels, 10%, 20%, 30%, and 40%. But there's something very important I want to clarify. These percentages refer to the profit I'm realizing. They do not mean that I'm selling 10%, 20%, 30%, or 40% of my entire Linea position. That's a big difference. A simple example. Let's say that my Linea position is currently showing $1,000 in unrealized profit. If my strategy tells me to realize 10% of that profit, I am realizing $100. I am not selling 10% of my entire Linea position. I am taking $100 of the profit and then managing that realized profit according to my system. The rest of my position stays invested. This allows me to take something off the table without completely exiting Linea. Why do I take profit gradually? The simple answer is I don't know what happens next. Maybe Linea keeps going up, maybe it stops going up. Maybe the price goes much higher than I expected, or maybe it suddenly drops. I don't know. So I don't want my entire strategy to depend on one decision at one price. If I sell everything and Linea continues much higher, I am no longer participating in that move. But if I never take profit and Linea suddenly falls, I could watch a large unrealized gain disappear. Taking profit gradually gives me a middle ground. My current profit-taking levels. Right now, my framework uses four levels: 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. The percentage I use depends on the price range where the cryptocurrency is trading. So I'm not simply saying every time Linea goes up, I sell the same amount. The price range matters. That's why I use predefined ranges. My current Linea price ranges. At the moment, the two nearby price ranges I'm working with are $0.0032 to $0.0067 and $0.0032 to $0.012. These are the ranges I'm currently using in my personal strategy. And I want to make something very clear. These are not price predictions. I am not saying that Linea will reach $0.0067. I'm not saying that Linea will reach $0.012. These are simply price ranges I'm using as part of my own framework for managing the position. The market will decide what actually happens. Why use price ranges? For me, price ranges make the process easier. Instead of constantly asking, should I sell now? I already have an idea of what I want to do before the price gets there. That's important because emotions can become very strong when crypto starts moving quickly. When the price is going up, it's easy to become greedy. You start thinking, maybe I should wait a little longer. And then a little longer becomes much longer. On the other side, when the market turns down, fear can take over. I don't want either of these emotions to completely control my decisions, so I prefer to have a plan. I'm not trying to sell the top. This is probably the biggest point I want to make in this video. I'm not trying to sell the exact top. I don't think that's realistic. If I take profit and Linea continues higher, that's okay. I'll still have part of my position. If Linea goes down after I take profit, that's okay too. I've already realized some of the profit. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to be systematic. What happens after I take profit? Once I realize the profit, I don't just leave the money without a plan. I divide the realized profit into three funds: 70% reinvestment fund, 20% personal income fund, 10% opportunity reserve fund. I explain this in detail in the second video of this series, but the basic idea is simple. The profit gets a purpose. I'm not simply selling and then asking myself what to do with the money. I already have a framework. Linea is the example. I'm using Linea here because it's one of the cryptocurrencies in my portfolio. But the idea behind this system isn't necessarily limited to Linea. Other cryptocurrencies have different price ranges and different characteristics, so I can adjust the levels and percentages depending on the asset. The important part for me is the process. Define the levels, follow the levels, take partial profit, manage the realized profit. I don't need to know what Linea will do. This is something I've learned from investing over the years. I don't need to know exactly what the market will do tomorrow. I can't control that. What I can control is what I do with my capital. I can decide how much I invest. I can decide how much risk I'm willing to take. I can decide when I want to take some profit. And I can decide what I do with that realized profit. That's where my attention is. For me, a good investment system isn't one that predicts everything correctly. It's one that gives me a plan when things don't go exactly as expected. Maybe Linea goes much higher than I expect. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I take profit too early. Maybe I wish I had waited. That's okay. I'm not trying to make the perfect decision. I'm trying to make a decision that fits my system. And that's why I use gradual profit taking. So, when do I take profit from Linea? I use predefined price ranges and four profit taking levels: 10%, 20%, 30%, and 40%. The percentage depends on the price range and where Linea is within my framework. And again, I'm talking about the percentage of profit I'm realizing, not the percentage of my entire Linea position. I'm not trying to sell the exact top. I'm simply trying to gradually realize profit while keeping part of my position invested. For me, that's the balance between taking something off the table and still having exposure to the future. So, my approach is simple. I don't try to predict the top, I try to manage my position. Subscribe if you find this type of content useful and you want to follow my real crypto investment journey. Consider subscribing to the Abraham Cryptoland. I share my own investment system, portfolio decisions, profit taking strategies, and risk management approach. No hype, no unrealistic predictions. Just my own process, my decisions, and what I learn along the way. And if you want to see what happens after I take the profit, watch the next video where I explain my 70-20-10 strategy and exactly what I do with the money after realizing a profit.